Hello, welcome.
Hello.
Hi, Tiffany. Hi, Sarah. Hello, open hands. If you would, please change your name to your first name. That would be great. Welcome. Hi, you're on time. Isn't that a beautiful thing? Imagine that. Thank you so much for being here. I think it's going to be an intimate group of us. I'm expecting 6, but I'm going to begin now because I want to value your time. So I'm Julie. Hello. Great to meet you virtually. I'm so glad you're here. Thank you for signing up for this. And my hope is that you can have the language that you need to really speak about your work in a way that feels authentic to you and the way that you actually talk, but that is really going to resonate with your audience, with your donors, and is compelling so that they feel persuaded and moved really to do something extraordinary like give and join you in a deeper way. And so that's really my agenda. I would love to just meet each of you, and you tell me, share your name, your title, what you do related to fundraising. And we're going to hear your pitch. So please don't go into too much about what your work is, because we're going to hear that, right? And then briefly, why did you sign up for this pitch clinic? What are you hoping to get out of it? Why did you decide to join us today? So who would like to start?
I'll start.
Awesome.
Hi, everyone. My name is Tiffany Ross. I'm based in Houston, Texas, and I'm the Associate Development Director for RAIN, which stands for Rape, Abuse, Incest National Network. I am actually new to development. I'm a social worker, been in the field for over 15 years and made the transition into development. So I took a workshop that you did a couple of months ago, and just been kind of following you, Julie. And then I saw this opportunity for a pitch because I have a portfolio, and I'm starting to meet with donors as like intro meetings. And they've been given to the organization for quite some time. So I'm hoping the pitch clinic will help me with the next step, to be able to say, okay, you've been giving now for 5 years at this amount, how about increasing it, So whatever tools I can take under my belt. Thank you.
That's great. I love it. And coming from being on the program side and being a social worker, you have an advantage there, because I think you can really educate donors. They get an opportunity to learn from you in a way that they wouldn't otherwise. So it's pretty cool. Welcome, Tiffany. Glad you're here. Who's next? Briefly share your name, your title, what you do related to fundraising, and why did you decide to sign up for Pitch Clinic?
I'll go next. My name is Sarah. Thanks for letting me in, Julie. I work at a health center where we provide free and low-cost health services to the community. I have 15 years working in nursing homes, also like Tiffany, more on the program side. And I got a little burned out. So I transitioned into a role of grant writer. And I moved back to my hometown about 5 years ago, started working at this organization. I was working as a grant writer, and recently we formed a foundation. And I've been promoted to director of fundraising, where I'm starting to work with donors now too. So yeah, I'm just looking for getting through the discomfort of getting away from the laptop and face-to-face with people. Having the tough talk about asking people to become recurring donors or increase their donation. And also just looking for the motivation for like this workshop to get these thoughts together and really start focusing on this. And I appreciate what that already has done just to get ready for today. So I'm excited.
Awesome, Sarah. Thank you. Wonderful. And congrats on your promotion. It's great. Who's next?
Hi, I'm Matt Mahoney. I'm the executive director of Open Hands. And I joined Open Hands 3 weeks before the COVID shutdown. So I really haven't met many of our donors yet. So I'm looking forward to meeting them, and in preparation for meeting them, I want to prepare myself and my board for asking them and asking them well.
That's awesome, Matt. Yeah, great. Thank you.
I'll go. My name is Dodie Rover. I'm vice president for a private school in Palm Desert, California. One of the founding members of the school. We've been open for 16 years. I've had previous time with Julie and enjoyed it, and just wanted to, I guess, to learn a little bit more about different approaches to pitches and things like that. I know what I do and what I currently do, but I don't think you can ever stop learning. So anyway, thanks for having me.
Hi, Dodie.
Hi.
You're amazing. Dodie's amazing. We're all going to learn from her. We're all going to learn from each other, but I'm so happy you're here. Great to see you, my friend. Who's next?
Can you hear me?
We can hear you.
Okay. Hi, I'm Patty Smith, co-founder of a nonprofit called Arts Bus Express. We provide funding to the educators for field study trips to the arts and science for San Diego County's educators, of which we are the second largest county in California, and also we have 42 school districts. I heard part, Julie, of your webinar the other day, and I have been carrying a good portion of the development. We were all an all volunteer organization up until very recently, and many of the donors are connections that I had from my art consulting business, which was 30 years. And so I have some hesitancy between friendship and donor in order to approach them about ArtsBus, and also giving more, because I feel like some of them are giving good donations, but I know that they're very capable of giving more. And I need to transition that part of my presenting.
Right. Well, I'm sure we can all relate to an element of that. Anybody? Yeah, friends and yeah, donors and right. It's tough. Yeah, you're there. You're in the right place. This is really going to help you today. Caroline, you're up.
Hello, everybody. Great to meet you. So this is exactly what I need badly. So I run a nonprofit in Boston, Massachusetts, South End Soccer, which is a free youth soccer program to create equity in the community and bring together our diverse and divergent communities to create a space of belonging. And we went through strategic planning, and we're actually doing a catalyst campaign right now to raise a lot of money and shift from mostly volunteer with limited paid staff to, a volunteer empowered model with paid staff, merging in some programming from other spaces, adding some new programming, really to create this space of connection through the sport, and hopefully shift a little bit the polarizations in our city, our global city. So, there's everything that all of you have said, all of it. So there's friends that definitely have the ability to lean in, and I don't want to do the friend thing. There's people that historically have given, but because we were mostly volunteers, we didn't need a lot of money, and it's getting to them and asking for more and just being comfortable that asking someone for money has nothing to do with any other relationship you have with them. Because it's different, feels different to me than, for instance, if I was asking them to invest in a bookstore I was opening or something else, because the word charity comes in. And so it's just getting comfortable in that space.
Mm. Awesome. Okay. Got it. Thank you. Glad you're here. So I'm going to kind of give you a rundown of how this is and how I run things. Okay. So, and I have 3 rules. Okay. So you let me know if this is jiving with you all. First, let's be brave. So some of y'all are used to beating around the bush. This is a chance for you to be clear and straight up. Okay. So let's be brave and be honest. The second is be concise. This is going to be a challenge for many of us, right? It is a challenge, and it takes more effort to get to the point faster. It takes more energy to be concise than it is to be long-winded. And so the third is related to that. I reserve the right to interrupt you. If you are going on and on, I'm going to help you practice being more concise. This is to serve you, right? This is not for me. Although this is my preference to be concise. It's really because we'll be able to move faster and go deeper with people if we get to the point of what we need and how they can help us, right? And so you're going to be able to raise more money quickly if you're able to be concise and clear and compelling. And usually when we're long-winded, what ends up happening is our donors who are listening get lost, right? There's too much information. We're trying to share too much at once, and it isn't helpful. It's actually a barrier to them helping you. And so this is a chance for us to practice, right? It's not to get it perfect, and it's all good. No one is expecting perfection here. If you're expecting perfection, that is a self-imposed pressure, okay? We're just going to practice. And it's all good. If you ain't gonna be great at it, it's okay. It's okay, right? So I may say, hey, Sarah, I'm going to interrupt you, right? And here's why. So I'm a coach, and I'm also somebody who I'm just committed to helping you get better, right? And whether or not you like me at the end of this, I'm willing to risk that, okay? Because that's part of it, right? And so when I say that I'm a coach, I mean, I may press in, ask a question, and really understand the heart of the matter. Why are we afraid to ask for a certain thing or say a certain thing? Why do we feel the need to be vague? These kinds of questions I may ask. So by virtue of you being here and being present, you're agreeing to all of this. If that's not fine with you, if you really don't want to be coached or pressed and you really just want the tactical pieces about your pitch, I'm happy to stay in that lane for you. But I am offering to be both giving you feedback on that and coaching you if you're down. So you can let me know, hey, I'm not really interested in that. That's totally fine. There's absolutely no judgment. It's all good. So you let me know in the chat, sounds good, or let's just stick to the pitch. You tell me what your preference is. It's all good. No worries at all. No judgment. So with that being said, here's kind of how it's going to go. So everybody will have a chance to do your pitch. And if you want, you can give us a little bit of a backstory. And again, remember to be concise, right? So ideally, I want you to try to think about a donor that you know you're going to be pitching sometime in the near future. You're going to ask them for a gift. So you don't have to share any specific details if you want to really keep them confidential, but you can share, okay, make up their name, Susie is gonna I'm meeting with her in a week, right? She's been giving for 5 years at this level. Here's a little bit of the background on, she's a lawyer. She's a partner at a firm in Boston. She is really involved in the community and has shared in the past that she's very passionate about our work, right? That would be a really great synopsis for us to understand. And then here's what we'll do from there, right? You give us the backstory, and then I can play the role. It says role playing, right? So I can play the role of Susie, and you will pitch me, right? The pitch that you're going to do is really like the 2 minutes where you're leading up to the ask and then making the ask. So this isn't the part of the conversation where it's like you're chit-chatting about life, about family, about the weather, like how have you been, right? Because I'm just assuming that you're already going to do that, right? So we're fast forwarding to the part of the conversation. You're doing that little ramp up to the ask and then making the ask, however you do that. And then once you do, you'll give yourself feedback first. What do you think you did well? What do you think you could have done better? Your peers will chime in and say, hey, I really liked that you said this or that you did this. This really struck me. And then I will give you feedback and help you workshop that a little bit and wordsmith it. And also, if you have comments like, hey, I think this word would be better suited, or you can put that in the chat. So every person will have a chance to go. And that's another part of being concise, right? Is that we want to respect and create space for other people to be able to share as well. We don't want to dominate the mic. So that's basically it. And then at the end, I will share with you my proprietary pitch framework. So what are the components of a pitch that you can use? You can share this with your board, like you mentioned, Matt. You can share this with volunteers. It's really to help frame any pitch that's either oral or written when you're making an ask. What are the components that you need? But I want to hear from you first because I want to see what we're working with. Yeah. So, any brave person want to go first?
I will go first, but I wasn't thinking of it exactly as you explained, so that's okay. It just means that I'm more free flowing now.
It's all good. Remember, this is practice, so we're working on it. This is a work in progress. It's great. So, who is your donor, Sarah?
So, I'm thinking that, well, there's 2 people I have in mind, so I'll go with the first one. His name, ironically, is Rich.
Okay.
And I live in a small rural area in Western New York. He went to school here as a high school student, and now he lives in Colorado. He found out about our organization through a board member. And last year he gave $70,000 in 2 gifts.
Oh, great.
And that was the first time he's ever given. And those were our first 2 donations.
Wow.
So that was awesome.
Yeah.
And nothing else that we have compares to that. What I want to do is get him to commit to being a recurring donor so that we can budget for that money. And I didn't ask in the best way at the end of last year. And so I kind of have to start that conversation again now and see how we can go.
Yeah, right on. Okay.
Okay,
That's
so
great.
I'm not even looking at my plan or my notes. This is how I would go about meeting with Rich.
Okay, so I'll be Rich.
Yes.
You go ahead and start whenever you're ready.
Rich, I am so honored that you have become a donor for our foundation. And it's so great to see you again today.
Yeah, you too. Thank you, Sarah. I'm happy to support.
I know that you have a passion for helping people from disadvantaged communities. And your previous gifts have helped us to make sure that nobody in Chautauqua County is left out of the opportunity to receive health care. What was amazing was that your last gift was for unrestricted funds, because that gives us the flexibility to use that donation in whatever way we need at any given time. What I am hoping for today is that you will once again up the ante and help us in a new way, which would be to give a recurring donation that we can budget for year after year. What I would like for you today is if you would commit to giving us $45,000 a year starting this year. That's it.
Yeah, thank you, Sarah. Okay, cool. Great job.
Thanks.
Nice. So that was good. That was quick. Give yourself feedback, Sarah. So how do you feel that you did? What did you do well?
I wanted to be sure to acknowledge what he's already done. I wouldn't want such a generous donor to think that I'm being greedy and wanting more, without acknowledging this amazing commitment that he's already made. So I think I did a good job on that, but I don't know if I explained it the right way about doing a recurring gift, or if it should have been longer. I don't know.
Mm-hmm. Okay. Got it. Great. Anybody else? What is your feedback for Sarah? What stood out to you about her ask?
I like that it was straightforward, which is why I feel like that up the ante cliche didn't fit.
That was
It,
bad.
it felt off.
Yeah.
Mm.
Totally.
Thought it was good. I thought it was concise. You had good energy, positive energy. I think you asked for too little, to be honest with you. And then I think you need to, for their sake, just in case things go sideways on them financially, that if you were to say, I'd like you to consider a $50,000 annual gift for the term of 3 years or 5 years, because at the end of that, assuming he's still successful, you would then have the opportunity to make your case on what that has done over the last course of whatever said years that he agreed to, and then you can up it again. If you leave that open-ended, you may end up it might be, and again, as we all know, if you get the yes right away, you probably didn't ask for enough, but that's okay, because you put a time restriction that then you can go back and explain what, how terrific his involvement with the organization is, and then to maybe up it moving forward for another 3 years or something like that.
Mm. Great. Anybody else? Feedback for Sarah. What stood out to you?
I was definitely impressed with how concise you were. I'm like, wow, how'd she got right on it. So I think that because he knows why he's there, right? He knows that you're having that conversation. So I think that was really good. I think to the fact that you made it clear to him, like the impact that he's had, like that mattered, the money went somewhere. I think, people always want to know that. So And I like the suggestion about the doing like a 3-year gift. I think that's a great idea because it also gives you the opportunity to up the next 3-year gift. He's not locked into like that much money for that long.
Thank you.
Yeah, I don't have much to add, but yeah, you went straight to it. And so I appreciate that. That's good.
It's probably easier to do that right now than if he was really sitting here. Let's just be honest.
Yeah, right. It's tough. So Sarah, what I liked is that you acknowledged his past giving, and you started out by saying, I know that you're passionate about this. That was the best part. Because you're saying, why them? We're not just asking people who have a lot of money to give. It's not that simple, right? We're asking people who really care and are givers and also have a lot of money to give. So the fact that you really see Rich as like a human being who is passionate and who cares and is doing something about it, beautiful. That's a pro move. He gave 70K last year. I'm really curious why you asked for 45.
I guess I panicked and I just thought of the amount that he gave it. He gave, so I might be getting this wrong. He gave us 45,000 2 times last year.
Uh-huh.
So I guess I was wimping out because I was thinking it was scary to ask for $90,000 as an annual gift.
Right.
And maybe it was easier to just go with a lower number that he was committing to over time. I know that's wrong.
It's okay. So I think we've all been there. Okay. Anybody else chickened out? Because I certainly have, and it's okay. Don't judge yourself. Okay. But that's why we're here. So Sarah, this is an opportunity to practice humility. It isn't about Sarah. It isn't. It isn't about how Sarah will appear. It isn't about how much Sarah thinks is a lot of money. It isn't about Sarah's pocketbook. It isn't about Sarah's bank account. It isn't about how much money Sarah is comfortable asking for. It isn't, right? You're doing this because you're working for your community. It's for them. It isn't for you. So it's okay if 90,000 feels like a lot to Sarah, because this isn't about Sarah, right? And so it's totally okay to be afraid. It's totally okay for you to be nervous, for your voice to shake, for whatever is going to happen if you're nervous asking for 90K. But you absolutely cannot ask for 45 from somebody who gave 70. You just can't do it. I think that when we are going to ask for money that scares us, the opportunity is to think about who this is for and why you're doing this. And you can even infuse that into more of your pitch. So I feel like that's what was missing.
Okay.
Was that this is not about your budget, actually. And this is not about you having the flexibility of the funding. Like there's nothing really inspiring about that.
Right.
And that's not actually why Rich is giving. And that's not actually why you do this work, Sarah, so that you can have a flexible budget. So don't say that in your pitch. Right? Who cares? Who gives about the budget? Who cares? Please don't say the word budget in your pitch. Nobody cares, right? It's really about the people. Why we do this is for our community, is for the community we serve. So you need to center them in your pitch, not you and not your budget. So talking about what it is that you are planning to do with that 90,000 once you get it. So I'm thinking about the future. I'm not thinking about the past. I'm not thinking about myself, and I'm not thinking about the budget. I'm thinking about the future and who it's going to impact and the lives that are going to be changed. Because that's why Rich is giving, most likely, right? And so it sounds like you need to have two different meetings, to be honest. You need to have a meeting thanking him and reporting
Right.
back what you did with
Right.
money. Then you need to have another meeting, and it may become one meeting because you might not get two meetings with Rich. He might be super busy. I don't know. I don't know the guy, but you need to find out why he gives. You know, I met with a donor yesterday who was like, honestly, I don't really care about the mission too much, but I give because of the leadership and I give because of the way that you guys run things. And it appeals to me as a business person. So we might impose and assume some things about why people give, but we don't know unless we ask them. So it might behoove you before the next pitch to find out who Rich is. Why did he give you $45,000 twice last year? Does he realize that he's like a founding major donor?
Right. I don't
And
think so.
that it's a really big deal to you guys,
Right.
and understand what compelled him to do that. Because that's going to frame your pitch, right? You need to know your audience. And so I'm not going to necessarily even focus on certain parts of what we do if it doesn't really resonate with the audience,
Right.
right? So the more that you know your donor, then the stronger your pitch will be. But I think the focus on the people, right, and the impact and the goals and the vision moving forward is the piece that you could really talk about. And you could do that in a one-sentence story. For example, you helped to change the life of, this person who came to us with a cancer diagnosis, had this situation, whatever that is. And now they have wraparound support. Now they have, healthcare that they can afford. I don't exactly know your program, but you do, right? So you see, we help someone like this go from A to B, and you help to make that happen, Rich. You see, and that doesn't take very long, but it has to be about the people. What are you hearing me say, Sarah?
I like that. I think it's so weird in the world of donors because usually they're very wealthy. And for those of us who don't come from that background, it is intimidating to know why someone donates. I might believe that this guy just donated because he wanted to get a tax write-off. And he picked ours because he's from this area and he's never donated to anything here in this little town, and his friends on the board. Now, I'm not saying that is why, but sometimes as like the people in the program, you get these preconceived notions about the donors and what their reasoning is. So the good thing about this exact person is he's a nice guy, and I could call him up and ask him these questions.
Yeah.
And get to know him better, which he deserves. And if I can't do that, and if I can't get his time, I agree with making it more about the people we help or about the town that we live in and how this helps our community. Because I do know that that's something that matters to him.
Yeah, that's great. Love it. Thank you, Sarah. Everybody give it up for Sarah going first. Very brave. Well done. Who's next?
I can go next,
All
even though I
right.
want to run off right quick.
No, you're doing great. You're doing it. We're here.
My heart's pounding. So this particular donor, his name is William. He's 73. I've been in my position since October of last year. So I've sent him an email and we've just kind of corresponded. Recently, he recently responded and was like, yes, I want to meet you. I love the organization. I love giving to the organization. And looking him up, he's been giving for the past 5 years on a quarterly basis. And so I want to talk to him, in my meeting. I want to, see if he can increase that amount. He's been giving at 500, so I want to see $500, and I want to see if he can increase it to 1,000. So
He's been giving $500 in quarterly payments. So 500
yeah,
total in 1 year.
no, it's been a over $5,000.
So 5,000 in a year, or that's 5,000 lifetime giving.
Yeah, for the past, sorry.
That's totally fine.
For the past 5 years, he's been giving $500.
Okay. $500 a year.
$500 recurring, sorry.
Okay. On what basis? So how much did he give in 2021? Do you know?
So in 2021, it was 1,500.
Okay.
Yeah.
Got it.
Yeah.
Cool.
Okay.
Okay.
All right. So hi, William. Thank you for taking the time to meet with me. It's always nice to get to sit down and speak with you, or to meet with you. You've been a great partner with RAIN these past 5 years. In fact, you've given over $5,000, and without your partnership, we wouldn't be where we are today. So thank you for your generosity. I wanted to share with you something recent that we are working on that might be of interest to you. Because of the pandemic that happened, children lost access to critical support structures due to school closing and isolation. And isolation from adults who regularly look for signs of abuse. So they've been staying with those who've been abusing them. And because of that, we saw an increased number of youth accessing our hotline. And because of that, we are working to create a staff moderated online group service for youth called the Youth Help Room. The Youth Help Room will be based on RAIN's existing Help Room platform, but will be custom built to serve youth up to the age of 24 who've experienced sexual violence. This service will allow RAIN to continue to assist survivors on their healing journey. Because of your support and partnership, I'm asking if you would continue with your partnership with us with this great work, with a donation of increasing your recurring donation to $1,000. That's all I have.
Great job. Nice. So go ahead and give yourself feedback, Tiffany. What do you think you did well?
Thanking him for his donation and his support, his generosity. Letting him know, like, this is what he's accumulated over the time he's been giving, and thank you for that, and for his support. So just really thanking him thanking him. I think I did well. So now what I think I could work on is maybe tying more his donation to the program that I think would be of interest to him.
Okay.
Or I don't know.
Yeah, great. That's great. What do you guys think? How do you think Tiffany did? What stood out to you? What did you like about her pitch?
Tiffany, I really liked how you used the word partnership. I've never thought of using that word for a donor. That was awesome. And your first sentence, that without your partnership, we wouldn't be where we are today. I wrote that down because I want to use that. I'm stealing it from you.
Yeah.
When you were talking about the program that you're implementing, you had me, because I was like, oh, wow, that sounds like something great. So I thought you set that up very well. You may want to try to show how that increased gift, now mind you, you hadn't made it yet, or the ask, would help facilitate that. But I thought the way you expressed the need, or your, you know what I mean, why you need him to up it, I thought was very well done.
Yeah, agreed with both of those. I think you were nervous, and so you kind of spoke a little bit quicker maybe than you normally would. I don't know what that is, practice, but it's noticeable, right? That comes across.
Okay.
Tiffany, I thought you did good. Yeah.
Okay.
You did great. That was a good pitch.
Okay.
I think that, yeah, I agree with Matt that I can tell you're nervous. And it feels a little bit formulaic or a little bit robotic, and that's not, doesn't seem like that's who you are. And so I think just probably with more reps, you're going to be more conversational, and that's okay. You know, I agree that I really liked you highlighting the lifetime giving, and over the last 5 years, this is what you've done. I think that's really cool. If you want to do that, I would maybe give an overview of the growth that has happened, right? So you've been with us for 5 years, and, you know, I just want to remind you of the ways in which you've helped us to grow as a result of partnering with us, that we have added on 20 new volunteers. We have served this many more youth. We have expanded to another location. I don't know the ways in which you all have grown. It doesn't necessarily have to be numbers growth, right? It could be we're serving youth in a deeper way, and that is how you grow, right? There's more than one way to grow. And then it felt like, I mean, yeah, I'm a stickler for being concise. It felt a little bit long in how you're talking about the program. And I think that that was because you're nervous. I don't think that's ordinarily, if you were just explaining to a colleague or a friend or somebody you know what the program is, I think you would probably do it much shorter and just more natural, more conversational, right? So yeah, and maybe it's just because this is like, we're all listening to you pitch, and that's a specific environment, right? So I recognize that. It may not be the case when you're actually, I get the sense you would be really great one-on-one. So if it's just you and that person, you're probably going to be a lot more natural. Yeah, I would say don't overthink it.
Okay.
You know, you're talking to another human being, and the mindset that you bring to that conversation is going to be more important than the words that you say.
Yeah. Okay.
So if you believe that they're on your team and they want to help you going in, it's going to change the way that your essence shows up, right? And the vibe that you're creating, like what energy are you bringing to it? Because leadership is a lot of times a transference of energy, of enthusiasm, of passion, right? It's like what I'm bringing to you, you're going to feel it, you know?
Yeah.
And so you're a leader, and you get to lead this donor into greater generosity and being a greater part of the team.
Okay. Okay. Thank y'all for the feedback. Yes, being myself.
What a concept, right? I know.
Who would have thought? Yeah, I got you.
I know.
Okay.
Well, and right, we, especially in our society, we value so much this thing called professionalism, and it's really just, you know, faking it.
Yeah.
Right. And we we think that that's being a pro. And sometimes it is, right? Sometimes
Mhm.
we're not having a good day. We got to suck it up anyway. Who cares?
Yeah.
But other times, you know, it really does help to just talk human to human, you know? And I think that's, you're going to be like, you're going to have so much more fun
Yeah.
and you're going to be more effective if you're just you talk like Tiffany, you're just yourself.
Thank you. And don't overthink it. That's my
Don't
that's my
overthink it.
ending.
And you know what I would say? I would say that my hunch is you are fiercely passionate about what you do.
Yeah.
This is personal
Yeah.
and you need to let that out.
Okay.
You need to unleash that on your donors.
Okay.
You need to let them know.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. Don't hold back.
Got you. It is noted.
Great. Great job.
Thank you.
Thank you. Who's next?
I'll go next. So we had a couple of donors similar to this situation. So I'll just say this couple, Dan and Karen. So they had given in the past, you know, maybe $100, maybe a couple $100. And then we got an end of the year gift of 10,000. So sort of just out of the blue. So we reached out, we said, thank you. We've invited them to events and it's been silent. So I've been calling them, trying to get a hold. But so that's the hope, right? Is I get a hold of them and I can find out what's interesting to them. And also just make a pitch for, you know, continued donation.
Great. Whenever you're ready, Matt.
So Dan and Karen, thanks so much for agreeing to this meeting. I want to say thank you again for your end of the year gift. And I was curious what motivated that.
Oh, you know, we met with our accountant and, you know, they recommended that we make a greater charitable gift. You know, business was really good the past couple of years. And so we really just want to avoid paying capital gains tax.
That's great. That's great. So I am wondering if you would consider a similar gift for the next few years to Open Hands.
Similar gift. What did you have in mind?
I think a gift of in the range of 20,000 a year would help us tremendously with meeting a lot of our goals.
What are your goals?
Well, demand is pretty high for our services, and so we need to expand. In order to expand, we're doing a fundraiser this year to hire another staff attorney.
Yeah, I don't really even understand what it is that you all do in your program. You have a staff attorney. I'm not really super familiar with the cause.
Oh, great. So we employ a bunch of attorneys and a small army of volunteers to go out into the community and help people with their civil legal issues, such as housing or family law or immigration or employment benefits, so that they can free themselves from those burdens and begin to live freely again without any obligation. So this past year, for example, we helped 15 families fill out the rent assistance forms and receive rent arrears to continue living in their housing.
Okay. Yeah, I mean, 20,000 is significantly more than what we did. So, I'll have to talk with my spouse and take a look at our business. But yeah, we'll think about it.
That'd be great. When would be a good time to circle back with you?
We usually don't make decisions like this until Q4. So I won't really know until then.
Okay. I'll give you a call in Q4 and we can talk maybe sometime, before the end of the year.
Sounds good. Thanks, Matt. Good job, Matt.
Thank you.
Give yourself feedback. How'd you do? What do you think you did well?
Yeah, I just wanted to keep it natural. And so I wanted to hear from them more than I wanted to give them information. So when they asked for information, I thought that was great. That was a good time to give it to them. But other than that, it was just kind of sort of probing and testing out sort of what they were saying. So I hope I maintained my calm during all that.
You did. I was tough on you. But you did good. Yeah, great job. What would you do differently, Matt?
Yeah, I would want to know a little bit more about their finances ahead of time. So if 20,000 seemed like a real stretch, I don't think I would have made that. Maybe I could have just asked for 10 again, or maybe I could have upped it to 15.
Okay. Great. So everybody else, what did you like about Matt's pitch?
Matt, yours was the first one where you really went back and forth with Julie, and that was a lot harder, and it showed that you left a lot more space for engagement than I did. Mine was like one way, and I liked your back and forth. And I also thought you were very calm and very natural and kind. Like no matter what Julie threw at you, you just kept an even keel and were just super professional and confident. So that was awesome.
Yeah, I thought it was good too. I think there are two ways to go at it, right? And then kind of you went into it like giving them the opportunity to ask what they didn't know. I don't know which is better. So, I mean, Julia, kind of from you, but I think also and I thought you did a great job and you actually knew your stuff and you got right to it and you were concise. But I was like at the end when they're like, well, we're not going to give you any information till Q4. And you're trying to figure out your budgets for your year. Like, I don't know if there's any way to get a commitment before that or re-engage before that. Cause that would be I'd be like, oh, I don't even know if I'm going to get this money and I'm going to have to wait like months. And I don't know what the answer is, but I just want to kind of ask that question.
Yeah, I thought about that because we have like a spring benefit coming up in June. So I thought, is that like the opportunity to invite them to come to the spring benefit and learn more? Or is that an opportunity to like invite them to one of our legal aid desks where they could come and see things in action? Like, I'd love to be able to host you at one of our legal aid desks, on Saturday in the next coming months. So you guys can come and see it in action. So maybe that was sort of a better way to handle that that put off until later, is invite them to something.
So Matt, I liked that it was a back and forth. I think that's great. I would have liked for you, and maybe this is because you need to get to know the donor better. But I think in donor conversations, we really need to come with an agenda and objectives of what we intend to learn and what we intend to get out of it, and then encourage them to take a next step, whatever that next step is for them. So I think that your inclination to say, hey, would you be interested in coming and seeing our work and taking a tour or whatever? I think that that's great. Follow that instinct and make that ask. So even if it's not an ask for a donation right then and there, right, you can sort of follow your own gut instinct and say, you know what, I think that it would be a good ask to just get them to come and see this in person. And that is their next step. So I think you're spot on with that. You know, as far as the ask amount, for, I don't know, 20K is double of 10K. So I wouldn't frame it as something similar to what you did before. But I would say it's totally fine if it's an amount that stretches the donor, because this is a negotiation. So they could say, you know what, we can't do 20, but we would do 15, or we would do 13 or 12 or whatever. And that's fine, right? That's an increase, and it's okay. So they can, it's an invitation, and they can totally decline it, and it's all good. But we're definitely gonna get a no if we don't ask for it, right? So the best way to really know, like, you're gonna learn a lot more about your donors and about their financial situation when you ask for more money. If it's somebody that you don't really know, you don't know them very well, then I would make sure that you have, what I do is have clear objectives, like, okay, I need to understand why they gave to us. I need to understand what their understanding is of our work. You should really be leading that meeting and that conversation, right? So, hey, so great to get on the call with you. Thank you so much for your generous gift last year. I'm really curious to know, why did you decide to give? Right, and you did ask that, and I said, you say, oh, great. So tell me, you know, I'm happy to kind of give an overview of what we do, but you tell me, you know, what is it that you understand our work to be, or what is your understanding of what we do? I'd love to hear from you. And then hear what they say. And that's going to be very revealing. And then that dictates what you say next and what you share about. Okay, great. That's wonderful. So here, let me just give you a quick overview, right? This is what, and then that's what you went into. So you see, that's a totally different pacing. You're leading the flow of the conversation, and there's intention behind it, right? Rather than on the defense and being responsive and reactive to whatever it is that they say, right? And there's a reason for that, because it really instills a lot of credibility and trust when you bring more intention to a conversation, and you can feel it. You can feel when there's intention and when there isn't, you know? And especially if you're asking somebody for more money, you want them to trust that you have, you know what you're doing, right? That you're intentional with the time that you have with them. And with a lot of people who are of high net worth, time is a commodity to them, not necessarily money, right? A lot of these people, their money is making money while they're sipping a cocktail on the beach. They don't have to work necessarily to make more money, but their time with you, they cannot get back. So let's be super intentional with that time and have some clear objectives. And sometimes I even go, before I start the meeting, I say, hey, Caroline, so great to meet with you. You know, I wanted to have this meeting really to get to know you and understand why you give. And I say that up front so that they know, oh, I'm not going to be asking you for anything. This is really a get to know you meeting. And they're not, oh, when is Sarah going to ask me for the money? Is it right? It's like, no. Or I was like, hey, Tiffany, thank you so much for your time. I really want to understand why you give. And I want to talk to you about how you can partner with us this year. You see, now that's clear. So come in there and make it clear what you're trying to do. Right? It's better for you and it's better for them. It's like, oh, okay. I hope this is helpful.
Yeah, very. I think that thinking about those intentions and planning that out well is not something I've done. So that is great.
Yeah. And really active listening, right? Listening to understand is so important, not just listening to respond. Because then that will allow us to really connect with the donor and to share things that are going to be relevant and interesting to them. So part of why they give is because they get to learn. You get to add value to their life. They're probably passionate or interested in your work and in the details of it. And so you get to really educate them. And when we're actively listening to understand them and not just respond and not just pitch and not just, ask, we can share things that will deepen the relationship. Okay, cool. Who's next? Thank you, Matt.
I'll go next.
Go for it. Whenever you're ready.
Preempt the please cut me off.
Well, okay, fine. I will, but also do your best.
In this really unique fundraising position that the South End Soccer, the program that I run, we historically haven't really done a lot of stewardship and solicitation and major donors. But now we're at a point where we're going to grow the organization significantly, and we need some significant cash up front, and we need some multi-year commitments.
Okay.
So
tell us about your donor.
So the donor, her name is Nina. Her son Ross has played in our program for 7 years.
Okay.
Her husband is a venture capitalist and has done very well. And her son goes to private school, and our community is very polarized economically. And she chooses to have her son in our program to get to know kids in the neighborhood.
Okay.
And is really grateful for it. Historically has donated, you have an option to donate when you register your kids, and then given me anywhere from $1,000 to $2,500 check unsolicited.
Okay.
In research, I know that they have given other organizations annual gifts of $10,000 to $25,000. So I know that they have a capacity, and I know they have capacity beyond that.
Great. Okay, let's do your pitch whenever you're ready.
Okay. Hi, Nina. It's great to see you. It's been too long, pandemic. Miss seeing you out on the field with Ross.
Yeah, it has. It's good to see you. Thanks for meeting with me.
So I wanted to meet with you initially and start the conversation to let you know about the strategic planning we did for South End Soccer and where we're looking to take the organization to the next level to increase the impact that we have on the community and create connections between divergent populations like you've seen Ross experience in the community. The strategic planning that we've done and what we've identified that we're going to do with the organization is we're going through a rebranding and renaming to Soccer Unity Project. We're going to increase our youth play with South End Soccer, so we have more kids getting equity in the game. We're going to be creating new programs for youth, families, and adults to interlink populations across wealth and poverty lines, across cultural lines, and create safe spaces of connection and learning. We're also going to be adding in some corporate programming that's going to be team building to create stronger teams and create connections with corporations on the ground and the grassroots with all of the youth and families that we serve.
Sounds good.
As you know, historically, Southland Soccer was volunteer run. I know a lot of your friends have coached with us, and we've built in more staff over the years. One of the things we identified in our strategic plan is for the longevity of the organization, we need to have staff. We need to bring in an executive director. We need a development director. We need more certified coaches to increase the development level for the players. And so we're launching a Catalyst campaign at $400,000 to bring in some of that initial staff. And then we are raising 3.5 million over the next 3 years so that we can have this real sustainability of staff and increase of impact. I sent you the materials, around what the programming model is going to be. Are there any questions that you have about what we're doing and how we're going to be making these shifts or increasing our impact?
Yeah. So how many kids are you hoping to get in the program this year?
So we're with the pandemic, of course, our numbers were cut in half. We're almost back to the full 1,200 a year. So right now we're getting ourselves back up to the 1,200. We were down to about 400 at one point. But then over the next 3 years, we see that increasing to 1,800.
Okay. Okay, sounds great.
So I'm coming to you actually as one of our families that long time understands this, and also someone that I know really cares about this work, because I would love for you to be part of our Founders Circle. I would love for you to be one of the people that is going to be part of this initial launch. It would be amazing if you could give $25,000 for the initial Catalyst Fund. And then we'd love to be you in the Founders Circle, which is a 3-year commitment at a minimum of $5,000, so that we can have the sustainability.
Okay. So 25K for the Founders Circle and 5K for what?
So 25,000 for the Catalyst Fund. So it would be a total donation over 3 years of $40,000. So it would be $25,000 this year for the Catalyst Fund, and then 3 years moving forward, $5,000 a year.
Okay. Yeah, I think we can, not a problem. We can do that. Sure, Caroline.
That's amazing. Thank you so much, Nina. It really means a lot. I know how you know our program, and having you be a part of this and be a partner and be at the launching of this is amazing. Thank you.
We're happy to help. Not a problem.
Thank you so much.
Thank you. Great job. Okay, Caroline, so give yourself feedback. How'd you do?
Well, I did a lot better now than I would have 2 hours ago.
Okay.
So watching other people go before me helped a lot.
Yeah.
Figuring out, like, we've been redoing presentations again and again, figuring out how to really just get concise about this is exactly what the new organization is going to do. So I just stated this better than I ever have.
Great job.
So that I feel really good about.
Good.
I'm not sure. I definitely have some awkwardness about the amount I'm going to ask some of these people for. Like, I know some very philanthropic people, and I've never asked them for money before. And so I'm just not, I just sort of the uncomfortableness of being like, am I going like out on a limb that's insane? Even though I know in our research, you give this much. I have hesitancy asking because I think they're going to tell me I'm nuts.
Okay. I get it. Yeah, all right. So let's hear from two different people. Feedback for Caroline. What did you like about her pitch? Let's hear it.
I liked it. I felt like it was a lot of information, but I was getting anxious waiting for you to ask something. So I felt like that was too long. I thought maybe, your first sentence was, I wanted to talk to you about, and I thought, oh my gosh, she's going to do that agenda setting thing that Julie just talked about. But you didn't say like, and how you can partner with us or something like that. So if that was there, maybe that would have reduced my anxiety. I don't know.
That's great. One more person. Feedback for Caroline.
I thought your knowledge of the different levels was great, but I kind of got lost in a lot of that. But your confidence level was good. I thought, your product, so you know what you're asking for, which I thought was great.
Yeah, so Caroline, great job. I love that the ask was clear at the end, 25K. I didn't really like that it was 2 asks at once. That confused me. Pick one, if it were me, I would say, I want you to, if you want a multi-year gift and you want 25K, why would I be asking someone to come closer and decrease their commitment over time? I don't understand. That is centered around your fear, and that's it. That would be the reason to do that. And that's not a good reason. So, likely your donors are going to be building wealth as they get older. Their capacity to give is not going to decrease, right? So again, you got to think through this logically, right? What's motivating you to ask for 25 and then 5? So those kinds of self-coaching questions are going to really help. I liked how you talked about the strategic plan. I liked how you talked about you integrated the donors' experiences. I know that your friends have coached. I know that I love that you did that personalized it. It's like you're talking to Nina. That's really, really good, Caroline. I think you need to shorten it. It's just too long. And I get the sense that the culture of your organization is, it's very wordy. It's very wordy. You guys love to be wordy. You want to, and that is really about wanting to come across a certain way, like sound smart or sound intellectual. I don't know. But really simple, and simplifying your communication takes mastery, the most skill. So the way that you talk about it now, it's still a little bit like going through a maze for me. And I'm an intelligent person. And I'm in the nonprofit world and I get strategic planning. You know what I'm saying? So let's find a way to simplify. So a good exercise for you would be, okay, you talked about 3 buckets in your strategy that I got the sense there's 3 different buckets. So write it out the way that you talk about it now. And then how would I simplify this if I was speaking to a grade school kid? What is the most simplistic language to describe this? No jargon, no industry subject matter expert kind of talk. Right? And do it in a way that is obviously going to be ethical and respectful, right? We're not trying to be crass or anything, but that's going to be your challenge to simplify that. And if you could get summarizing your strategic plan in 1 sentence. Our strategic plan is this, this, and this. And I think taking it from good to great would be even like talking about Nina's son, right? More in the change, the transformation that your team has seen in him, and how that's something you're trying to create for more kids, right? So you have the benefit of your donor being in some ways a recipient of your program. That you really need to highlight in your pitch. I don't need to tell you, Nina, how this has been impactful for your son, right? You tell me, like, what has this meant to your son to be a part of this? Ooh, 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 right? Bring it home. How much is that worth to Nina? Right? You see, who cares about 5K? Forget it. It's done. And especially if somebody says, yeah, sure, no problem. Happy to help. Here you go. Here's 25. Oh man, did you leave a lot of money on the table? We want our donors to pray, to think about it, to really go to God. Okay. We want them to be like, what's going to be a meaningful contribution to me? Not just a quick yes. Thank you, Caroline. Who's next?
I guess I'll go. I'm having some hesitancy. Probably just being overwhelmed by information right now.
Mm.
And I've always been told that I have a passion about our organization, but right now I'm not feeling so passionate, but I'll try. I'm thinking of donors, Dolores and Rod Smith,
Okay.
who were my clients when I owned my art consulting firm. And they are also friends. They're in their 90s. And we have met socially as well. I think that is the difficult part for me.
Right.
They have been donors at the level of $1,000, and I think once 2 years ago, 2,000. They skipped last year, and I honestly believe that it was just because they didn't remember.
Okay, great. That's great,
Okay.
Patty. So you whenever you're ready,
Okay,
go for it.
so Dolores and Rod, it's so good to see you. It's been such a long time since we've met face to face. The telephone is a substitute, but not the same as meeting with you. And I really look forward to this afternoon visit.
Likewise.
In spite of all the challenges that COVID has brought to ArtsBus, we feel that we have made great strides and that we're on much more solid ground than we were even 3 years ago. I want to let you know how much we have appreciated your ongoing support, which has been for a number of years now. And I'd like to show you exactly what we have record of you giving for the last 6 years. And we're hoping that you will continue your support, because your partnership makes a huge difference in how we can reach out to even more students in San Diego County. The year of I call it the year of COVID, our numbers were down, and yet we still served over 7,000 students, And that was because we reinvented ourselves.
Wow.
Since the buses were not rolling, we were able to create virtual interactive field trips on Zoom for each class with an expert. And we have now partnered with 21 different venues in San Diego County,
Wow.
which include La Jolla Playhouse, the Air and Space Museum in Balboa Park, and a number of others.
Yeah.
It turns out that we thought we would be going back to our first model, which was the school bus. And we have found out instead that we now have options for teachers. They can either take a virtual interactive field trip with an expert, or they can do an in-person field trip by riding the bus.
Great.
We are about to launch our first executive director, or not launch, that's another word. I'll have to think about that one. We're about to hire our first part-time executive director. We have been all volunteer. And we also have now on staff our program administrator. So we have a smooth operation. And one of the things that we worked on during the 2 years that COVID was in our lives was to streamline the application process for all of the teachers in 42 school districts. And by the way, we work on a first come, first served basis.
Okay,
So-
Patty, so hold on. So
Okay.
you've been going for, I don't know, at
Too long.
least 3 minutes now.
Okay,
So I want you to get to the ask.
okay.
So go
Okay.
for it. You got it. You got this.
We're eager to lay down all the plans that are required for sustainability. And we would like to know if you would consider a donation of $20,000 for the next 3 years.
Absolutely, Patty. We'll consider it. We love what you're doing, and it's really impressive. And we'll think about it and get back to you.
Do you have any questions?
No, not at this point. I really we love what you're doing, and it makes sense, the changes that you've made, and it's really impressive that you've reached so many people.
Yes, in fact, we have exact figures. We have reached 230,000 children by giving them a ride to the arts and sciences with or without the bus. And we are now in starting our 20th year. And we're hoping that we can lay the groundwork for sustainability. And
Great.
I look
All
forward
right.
to hearing from you. May I give you a call in a week or so once you've thought about it?
Yeah, that's fine. Yeah.
Thank you so much for the time that you have given, and also thank you for your friendship. I really think you are very special people, and it's a joy to have you as not only a donor but a friend.
Thank you, Patty. We feel the same way. Awesome.
Okay. I'm chewing my fingernails right now.
You did it.
Yes, and actually this is new territory. I've been always able to ask, for small donations, but I'm just learning this as long as I've been doing it. This is just great information, Julie, and it's a whole new world.
Yeah,
I'm not comfortable with it yet, but I can be.
that's right. That's absolutely right. So I want to make sure that we get to Dodie. So I'm just going to give you feedback.
Okay.
So I feel like I loved when you talked about the youth and how you've changed things during this COVID time and the numbers, I think that was the strongest part. And I love what you said at the end about thank you for your friendship. I could feel that that was really you speaking from the heart.
It was.
Right. I think the opportunity for you is to don't feel like this is your only chance to dump a ton of information on people.
Okay.
Think about the longevity of the relationship, right? Come to this with an abundance mindset. These are your friends. You're going to talk to them again. So don't feel like you need to tell them everything about it all right now.
Okay.
If you make the ask, then say, great, I love that you followed up and said, can I follow up with you next week? I thought that was great. And leave it at that, right?
Okay.
Because what you can do then is send a wrap-up email thanking them for their time, and you can share a little bit more information in the wrap-up email.
Oh, okay.
You're going to share a little bit more information next week when you follow up again, right? So
Okay.
think about this isn't one and done. This isn't like I need to get it all out now because I'll never see these people again. So this is my one shot to tell them everything.
Okay.
Right? It's too much.
Okay. Got it.
So keep it simple and don't feel like you need to tell everything, right? You're
Okay.
so knowledgeable. You're talking to friends, people who are on your team, and they want to help you.
Okay. Thank you.
You're an expert on what you're doing and you're doing great work. So you can feel very confident to ask for money.
Thank you.
Thank you. Dodie, your turn.
All right, it'll be the speed round. I got some pretty high net worth donors.
I know
they've
you
given in the
do.
past. So we are starting a silent phase of the campaign to build a new building. So Gordon and Adele, we usually go to their house for lunch. So, and then they have it delivered and brought in and whatever. So Gordon and Adele, thanks again. Really enjoy being with you guys, seeing the dogs, and once again, being able to talk about Xavier and your prior gifts and involvement and participation in the school and what you've afforded the kids and the creation of the tennis center is tremendous. And you've given kids an opportunity to play on campus, to have the room and the space to be together. And our program has increased and we have way more tennis players than we did obviously before when they had to go off campus to play the sport. As you well know, we're in some beginning phases of developing the master plan for the campus. And with that, and what the biggest need currently is, again, our kids need room. Your three grandchildren who have gone through the school and Quinn getting ready to graduate, I think they have all learned to understand the benefits of being together, and the COVID thing threw it all into a little bit of chaos there for a while. With the development of the new plans, and you've seen the plans and you've seen the fly-through imagery of the new building, we would like you to consider participating and offer you the opportunity to participate with a lead gift of $5 million so that we can continue to grow the school, let our kids and future kids and generations have the opportunities to experience this type of education, meeting people where they are, and would like to know if you'd be interested in participating at that level. Speed round.
Great job. 5 million, baby. That's what's up.
That's a lot. I think they could do more. So I probably wimped out on the 5, honestly, but.
That's great. I hear you. Yeah, I asked for 5 million last month and I almost threw up. So yeah, it's it's real. I was very sweaty. You had to change clothes a lot that day.
Yeah.
Okay, so give yourself feedback.
I should probably ask and then stop and let the conversation develop, because I'm sure there'll be interest in, can we do it over time? What's the price of the building? You know, those kind of things that are just kind of expectant on that kind of an ask, and those kind of donors, because they're obviously experienced donors and philanthropists. So, you know, you always feel the need to fill the void after, like you just can't stop. And usually I can stop. I didn't today, but I think that, and again, speed round. So I didn't really have a lot of time to kind of build the case a little bit more, which would have probably gone on for another 30 or 40 seconds or something like that.
Yeah. I really liked it. Dodie, you're just so conversational. You're so like warm. You know, these people, like, you know, their dogs, you know, their grandkids, like that really comes through. The way that you describe the tennis court and the impact of that, I thought was really strong. I could visualize in my mind, I saw kids being together and being on campus and playing tennis. And I think you did a good job of that. I agree. That would be my one piece of feedback for you. The main thing, right? Especially if it's a $5 million, you know, I like that you said lead gift. To just ask for that and then pause. But I think what you said after, you could have said before, right? You could have just changed the order of that. I think that's fine to go a little bit longer, especially if you're asking for 5. I think that, yeah, being able to describe why them. So why them for a lead gift? Maybe one line about that. I felt like maybe that was missing. So you talked about that, but I think just wrapping it up a little bit in a bow, right? I'm being a little more nitpicky here, but saying like, you've been partnering with us for this many years, you know, and that's why I'm asking you to consider giving a lead gift of $5 million. You know, and then and leave it. So,
Okay.
yeah, I know we're over time. So great job, everybody. I thought this was really good. I'm willing to stay a couple minutes longer, but if you need to hop off, that's fine. This was really good. You guys are great. Hope you feel good.
Thank you, Julie.
Yeah, thank you. And is there anything else that in the last couple of minutes here together that I can help you related to making the ask? Is there anything that's kind of burning on your mind or heart, or any last comments or questions?
Julie, I had one question, and that was, I know you are sending the recording. Can we share it with the rest of our board? Because I really know.
Go for it. Why not?
Okay. All right. Too much information.
No, it's fine. What if I had said no, right? You would have maybe done it anyways. How would I know? I mean, I don't know. So
I wouldn't have done that.
oh, thanks, Patty. Yeah, that's fine. I want this to really support you. If you believe that will support you, then absolutely. I would ask that you don't send this to people outside of your organization.
Oh, yes.
Because I want to respect that, you know, you all paid to be here. So,
Okay. Well, I think it's important that all board members and some of the committee that is involved in fundraising has some of these skills, because even if they don't do the ask per se, they know the value of all the parts that go before the ask.
right.
And,
Yeah, I agree.
and especially,
I'm going to give you the link to the pitch framework that I mentioned previously. It's Lizzie, can you help me with that? It's a PDF that's in my, it's just a public PDF, but you all get access to that. It's basically like the main components of a pitch, right? And each of you really hit on them for the most part. I can share my screen with you really quick so you can see it.
Julie, can I ask a quick question?
Yeah, go for it.
So there's some folks that I know that are very philanthropic, either like personally, or I just have connection with them through the community. And how many times would you expect to meet with them if they're not really familiar with the program? Like different than the Nina that I did, someone that hasn't really touched it.
Yeah, you would, it depends on them, right? It depends on if you can get them to respond to your emails or your calls, right? Your communication, if they're responsive, if you ask for a meeting and they say yes, and then you go on that meeting and they are interested and you can tell, great, keep them closer, right? Each person's going to be different and you're going to have to get to know people in order to answer that. So this is a pitch framework. So it's the hook, why them, credibility or social proof, your vision or your goal, the invitation, and then how to take action. So this is a example. This is made up. This is totally made up. But for you, Caroline, right? The hook might be, hey, we have outlined this new strategic plan and we're looking to impact this many more youth or grow in this way. That could be your hook, right? Like here's a new change. Here's something that's different. If you know that your donor is going to care about the strategic direction of where you're headed, right? So this is all based on your audience. The why them, you can't leave that out. Like, why are you asking them for this specific amount? I've already gone over that a little bit, so I'm not really going to dive into that. The social proof and the credibility, again, this depends greatly on your audience. So a lot of people, something to consider, especially for major donors, is the peer-to-peer component. So for you, Sarah, Rich gave because of somebody on the board. So, or for you, Patty, your donors might give because someone is involved that they respect. You know, like if I was pitching somebody who I knew had a business relationship with someone on our board, I would mention them. I would say, and as you know, this person is really involved and they're on our board and they have been for many years. That could be part of your credibility.
okay.
You see, that's one, and that depends on the audience. So maybe they don't really care who's on your board. I don't know, right? You have to know who you're talking to. And then to be really clear about the invitation. We're looking to impact 500 more youth this year. And I would love for you to be a part of that. Will you consider giving $20,000? You see how the goal is related to the ask or the vision, where we're headed. And this is if it's written, right, then you can say, here's how you can give, right? If you put, let's say you have an ask that you're writing in an email or whatever. Let's say the donor says yes to an amount, then you could say, amazing. How do you plan to give? You know, do you have a donor advised fund that you like to give through? Or I could see last year that you wrote a check. Do you intend to do that again? Do you want to do a wire transfer? We also accept stock donations, gifts of stock, right? You could say that. They'd be like, oh, I didn't know that. Yeah, I do want to give a gift of stock. So, and then just ask them too, like, when do you plan to give? Last year, you gave 45K in the spring, and then you gave 45K in December. What do you think? What is your plan for your giving this year? Just straight up ask. Because, right, you have to make plans around this anyways, don't you? So it would be great to know. You don't have to be left guessing. So in the chat is the link to this document, and you have access to that. And also, I will say, feel free to share that with your board or anyone on your team so that they can kind of use this as well. That's totally fine. Oh yeah, Dodie said, do we suggest practice with recording ourselves? I love doing that. You can practice with colleagues. You can practice, ask a board member, ask them, hey, can I practice with you? Or can I send you a recording of my pitch that's, 2.5 minutes and you give me feedback? I mean, why not? If you're feeling brave. Even practicing, right? You could inspire a board member to end up giving more. Who knows what will come of that? I've seen it happen many times before. So I hope this is helpful to you. I'd love your feedback. So I'm going to end it here. If you have more questions, if you end up using this pitch and you end up raising money from it, I want to know. People usually do. Last time that I did this, I helped someone rework their pitch, and then they sent it out the same day, and they got a donor to increase their gift from 10 to 40K, which was really cool. So, and that was over email. That was a written pitch over email. So that was really cool. But yeah, people usually raise more, and each of you have an ask I know that's coming up. So if there's any way that I can help you, I'm happy to do it. You all have my email, and I'll make sure that you get the recording and also the link to this pitch framework so that you have those resources. Thank you so much for staying long. I know this was not ending on time, but I hope this was helpful to you, and feel free to email me your feedback or any questions that you have. Thank you, and great job.
Thanks, guys.
Yeah, bye.
Bye, thank you.
Bye.